Welcome, everyone. It is Monday, April 27th, 2020. It's 5:15, and the Carroll City Council meeting is now in session. Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. COVID-19 situation makes it impossible and impractical to meet in one location. Due to this, the Carroll City Hall will remain closed to the public for the April 27th, 2020 City Council meeting. However, the meeting will be made available telephonically. The public will be able to hear and participate in the council meeting by calling the numbers as noted. Please note everyone is in attendance. And we have the retirement of Roy. No?
He's retired, but he's not going to show up today.
That's fine. I didn't see him come in. But that's fine. All right. Well, I guess that was on here on the agenda. Otherwise, the next item is the consent agenda, which is approval of minutes of the April 13th meeting, approval of bills and claims. Under licenses and permits, we have a new outdoor service area privilege from May 1st, 2020 to September 20th, 2020 for Jalisco. Renewal of a Class C beer permit with Sunday sales, Sparky's One Stop. Renewal of a Class E liquor license with Class B wine permit. Carryout wine includes native wines, and Class C beer permit with carryout beer and Sunday sales for Walgreens number 10770. We have renewal of a Class E liquor license with Class B wine permit and carryout wine, which includes native wine, and a Class C beer permit with carryout beer and Sunday sales for Hy-Vee. We have renewal of a Class C beer permit with Class B native wine permit and Sunday sales for Riling 71 South. And finally, we have an engagement agreement with Allers and Cooney PC for a review of the Mid-American Energy Franchise Agreement. Are there any questions or any items to discuss with regard? There's a motion and a second. If there's no other discussion, we'll go ahead and vote, please.
Dirks?
Yes.
Seaman? Yes. Haley?
Yes.
Fleshner?
Yes.
Base? Yes. Cox?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. At this time, we open the meeting up to the public for oral requests and communications time for items not on the agenda. Not hearing any. We have no ordinances this evening. So the next item under resolutions is the fiscal year 2021 health insurance renewal. And Laura, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
And I think Debbie is on also.
Here.
Okay,
I'll just
thank
make
you.
a couple opening comments and then I'll let Debbie explain some more information. So as what the city's been doing for a number of years is we've been partially self-funding some of the city's exposure as it relates to our health insurance plan that we offer the employees. We buy a high deductible plan from Wellmark and then partially self-fund to bring the deductible amount down, as well as some of the out-of-pocket co-pays, co-pays, yep, and prescription co-pays. The plan has run very well for the city. We actually estimated when we were putting together our fiscal 21 budget that we were going to end this current fiscal year at roughly $915,000 in that fund, where we're now, after we've had almost the whole year completed, it looks like it should end closer to $950,000. So we feel that it's really running well. So we got a renewal from Wellmark, and Debbie will talk a little bit about that and then what the proposal is for council. Debbie, are you on the line?
Yes, I am, Laura. Thank you so much. Okay, participate nonetheless. And so, as Laura mentioned, the plan has run quite well, and not just quite well this year, but it's really run quite well for a number of years. And the partial self-funding, we really believe, has enabled us to be able to provide really high quality insurance to your employee base and be able to afford to do so. because we have paid less in insurance premium and paid a portion of the claim expense when the claim expense is incurred. So we have been, again, with Wellmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, and we have been purchasing a $5,000 deductible with a $7,150 out-of-pocket maximum, of which that deductible is included in that out-of-pocket maximum now since July 1 of 2017. And so this year, we have an opportunity to increase our exposure to a $7,000 deductible with a $7,900 out-of-pocket maximum. So our real exposure on any one member is the difference between what we currently have today, which is $7,150, versus the recommendation for July 1 of 2021, which would be $7,900. So it's an additional $750 exposure on any one member. But it allows us to continue to utilize our resources well, to be able to take on a little more exposure for about $10,000 less in annual premium, and assume a little bit more risk, and because of that, keep our COBRA rates essentially the same, which would keep the employee cost and the city's cost approximately the same for the next plan year. And we've been doing this very conservatively and very methodically. We haven't been racing to jump to higher deductibles each year, but rather trying to move to the next highest deductible option that made economic sense, and then remaining there for several years to allow our claim experience to level off and be absorbed into that slightly higher deductible. So it seems like a very natural and reasonable step to take on a little bit more exposure, especially given the fact that we have a very significant fund balance to help offset some of that exposure.
What's our current?
You all will have to.
What's the current COBRA rate now? Do we charge them the same as what?
Our current single rate, Laura, you probably have that in front of you, but it is.
Yep, Debbie, the single rate is $499.28, and the family COBRA rate is $1,097.71.
That was one.
Right.
That's one I didn't see on there. Thank you.
Yep.
Which, quite honestly, for the plan that we provide, which is a $500 deductible single, $1,000 out-of-pocket maximum single, and double those amounts for family, those rates are very, very competitive.
Is this
the same as last year?
Yes, we've had the same COBRA rate for at least 2 or 3 years now.
So the only increase in this is would be the city's responsibility.
When you say
Yes.
the city's responsibility, you're talking about,
71.
The additional partial self-fund.
yes.
of that deductible, the 7,100?
7,150 to 7,900.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
But the rates that the employee pays is only up like 0.1%, correct?
No, that 0.1%
Correct.
that you're talking about is the actual premium that Wellmark is charging us. And then,
Is that what the employee pays out
no,
of their, oh, no,
no,
okay.
they pay 20% of the
They pay
COBRA
20,
rate,
that's right, 20%,
Yep.
that's what it was, yeah.
5% of what?
the COBRA
The
rate.
COBRA rate, yeah. Okay,
The COBRA rate is a combination of both the Wellmark plan cost and then our partially self-funding, the part that we're self-funding, and kind of what the plan believes we need to generate to make that run correctly.
I guess the question that I would have for maybe Laura and Mike, at what point do we look at that fund and go, there's too much in there, we've got to do something to spend that down? Is that something you look at later in the next year or two? Kind of watch the models as they come out what we change? Is there a policy to how much we?
I think it's more of a policy decision for the council. to
Okay.
make. Certainly, we can have enough reserves. If we had a worst case scenario, we could pay all the claims out of the partially self-funded, or the self-funded portion of it. But it's a balancing act, because if you have a catastrophic event where everyone's hitting that max amount of pocket, which would be very unlikely, but if it did happen, you're also facing probably a pretty large rate increase with Wellmark. So the balancing act is, then do you use part of that reserve to kind of buy down the rate in
Right.
future years? So I do think we're approaching a point that we need to have a serious conversation about how much do we have in reserves, and does it make sense for your rates, both. And so if you lower your COBRA rate, that would result in spending down some
Some of that reserve.
Another way you could do it is you could institute a premium holiday, where for like a half a month or a full month, you simply don't charge a premium, a COBRA rate premium. So both the city would save money and the employee would save money. So if you were targeting like a half a month, that would in essence be a 4% reduction to what's being charged. The nice thing about a premium holiday is you're not actually implementing a rate change in the future years. So if the next year you have a catastrophic event and rates would go up 10, 20%, you're not having this yo-yo effect.
Right. Okay.
It's a way to keep rates flat for long term. And then if you have a catastrophic year, then you can react to that and raise the rates in the future years, but you don't have to raise it more than what you had previously lowered it. So I don't know if that makes sense, but I think that would be the approach that we'd recommend at some point. And I'm not saying this fiscal year would be the right year to do it, but at some point, if we keep seeing this increase.
I don't see it on here. What's the increase for the employee from last year to this year?
There would not be.
And that's because as we keep the COBRA rate level, then their percentage of the COBRA rate remains constant, right?
Yes.
Right.
Any other questions for Mike or Laura or Debbie?
Debbie, I have something for you. It's actually unrelated to this, but I'm thinking maybe you can shed some light on some of the council members, Jerry Fleshner.
Yeah, Jerry.
If you are an insurance company under the Affordable Care Act is required to kick back money if they make just so much, right? You're only allowed.
Well, I think
you know what I'm talking about?
you're talking about the medical loss ratio.
Okay. Whatever it's called. I mean, I'm wondering if that would kick in since there's so much less being done this particular year. I guess from my own insurance, I've had years where we've gotten a rebate from the insurance company. Is that something that would come into play this year with, of course, so much less being done in this current year, tests and such?
Right. It's a very good question. I'm absolutely following you, and there's certainly that potential, because certainly services that are considered non-essential, even services that by face value you would say are essential, are still being deemed non-essential, and so we have had a period of time here where many could be higher than expected relative to claim expense. And so depending upon how the pools run, there's always that possibility. Now, I don't know what the offset will really look like with respect to COVID expenditures. As a state, we're in offset.
What is the year period, the period that we're talking about then? Wouldn't it be through the end of June? Is that accurate?
Well, for your plan year, yes, your plan year is July 1 to June 30, but medical loss ratios are not just plan specific, they're pool specific, and so you're in the 101 plus pool space, and so there are authorized timeframes that they look at. So it's not just specific only to the city of Carroll.
Okay, I
It's
guess that was
specific to the whole pool.
If it's just our
Yeah.
plan or not, because I'm quite certain your expenses will be much lower this year, at least here in Carroll. So,
Absolutely, yes, but it's not just the city of Carroll on its own accord with respect to that medical loss ratio. But it's still a very valid point, and it's still a possibility.
okay, thank you.
Sure.
Are there any other questions for Mike or Laura or Debbie for that matter? If not, I will need a motion to approve entering into contract with Wellmark for health insurance benefits with a deductible of 7,000 single, 14,000 family, and an out-of-pocket maximum to 7,900 single and 15,800 family.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. If there's no other discussion, we'll go ahead and vote, please.
Seaman,
Yes.
Fleshner,
Yes,
Haley,
Yes.
Dirks, Cotts,
Yes.
Base.
Yes.
Resolution is approved.
Thank you. I think we've been doing a pretty good job keeping those rates down, so I think it's been helping a lot. All right, the next item is the fiscal year 2019-2020 budget amendment number 1. And it is 5:33, and we will open a public hearing. And Laura, when you're ready.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is the time for the public hearing for our budget amendment number 1. The notice of time frame for a public hearing. I will, a copy of all the items to be included in this public hearing, or excuse me, budget amendment is included with this memo. I won't go through each one of them unless somebody has a specific question about one of them. We can talk about it. The only thing I will mention that the amendment does include expenses for items of projects that were started in fiscal 20 or earlier and have been or expected to be completed in current fiscal 20. The items that were accounted for in our reestimated amounts when we completed our fiscal 21 budget as prepared. The only item that was maybe not included was the small business grant that council had approved about a month ago. That was a new item that was not a part of our reestimates when we were putting together our next year's budget. Other than that, everything else was a part of our reestimates when we were putting our budget together.
So they don't want to come at a later time.
It's a part of this.
Most part.
Yes, it's just showing we're using our fund balances. Paid out of local option sales tax.
Oh, got it. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Do you expect the delinquent property taxes to change? Are there any questions for Laura? I'll open up to the public. Are there any questions from the public? Nothing? Okay. It is 5:35 and we'll close the public hearing. Any more questions for Laura from the council? Seeing none, I'll need a motion to approve fiscal year 2019-2020 budget amendment number 1, please.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. If there's no other discussion, we'll go ahead and vote, please.
Cotts,
Yes.
Dirks,
yes,
Haley,
Yes.
Base,
Yes.
Fleshner,
yes,
Seaman.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have Randy on the line?
We'll be up.
The next item is please go ahead, sir.
I am on. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In conjunction with the change order number 2 to the water storage tower rehab project, we did prepare an amendment number 3 to the professional services agreement with JEO Consulting Group. The amendment includes additional professional services to administer and review construction on the project through the completion date that was established in change order number. For the amendment, total estimated cost is $59,300, and the impact on the agreement with JEO as a result of this
Yeah,
amendment
that's fine.
brings the
We're getting
agreement up
feedback
to
from his
100.
microphone and speaker.
Pardon me?
I think we were getting a little feedback from your speaker and the microphone, but
Okay. Is it cleared up now?
yeah, I think you're good now. Try again, Randy.
Okay. The amount of the amendment is $59,300. The impact on the JEO agreement brings it to $183,000 total. With that amendment, the project cost, the estimated project cost will come in about $779,900. We have available $100. So unless there are any questions, I'd recommend consideration of the resolution approving amendment number 3 to the agreement with JEO for the water storage tower rehab project.
So the total now is going to be 783,600. Is that correct?
That's the total amount of funding that's projected to be available. The total project cost is the $779,900.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yep.
Got it. Are there any questions for Randy? No, I think I'm feeding back. I can hear an echo in there. If there's no other questions for Randy, we will need a motion to approve the resolution approving amendment number 3 to the professional services agreement with JEO Consulting Group Incorporated for the water storage tower rehab 2019 project.
So moved.
There's a motion and a second. There's no other discussion. We'll go ahead and vote, please.
Dirks?
Yes.
Katz? Seaman? Fleischner?
Yes.
Base? Yes. Haley?
Yes.
Resolution is approved.
Thank you. The next item is the water supply well replacement 2020. Report of proposal opening and consideration of the award of contract. And Randy, when you're ready, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On April 21st, proposals were received for the construction of the water supply well replacement. As you recall, that's a replacement for the well number 11 at the south end of Rolling Hills Park. One proposal was received from Sargent Drilling in the amount of $568,790. That proposal exceeded the engineer's estimate by $62,210, or approximately 12%. And based on that proposal, the current total project cost is estimated at $694,590. Proposed funding for the project is from the Water Utility Fund in the current and next fiscal year. It's projected to be $725,000. If this project is awarded, it would have a 210-day estimated construction time. Unless there are any questions, I'd recommend your consideration of the resolution awarding the contract for the water supply well replacement to Sargent Drilling at their bid price of $568,790.
Any questions for Randy? No. I think we, just to keep that going, and I don't mind going ahead with it, but if not, I'll look for a motion to award the contract for the water supply well replacement 2020 project to Sargent Drilling at their bid price of $568,790.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. There's no other discussion. We'll go ahead and vote, please.
Base? Yes. Katz?
Yes.
Seaman? Yes. Haley?
Yes.
Fleischner?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Resolution is approved.
Thank you. The next item is the water distribution main replacements for 2020. report of proposal opening and consideration of award of contract. And Randy, please, when you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Also on April 21st, proposals were received for the water distribution main replacement project. One proposal was again received. This was from King Construction at an amount of $797,071. That exceeds the engineer's estimate by $57,651, or about 8%. Based on that proposed price, the total project cost is estimated at $933,571. And again, proposed funding for the project is again from the Water Utility Fund, current and next fiscal year, in the total amount of $1,136,500. If the project is awarded, it would also have a 210-day construction period. So unless there are any questions, I'd recommend your consideration of the resolution awarding the contract for the water distribution main project to King Construction at their bid price of $797,071.
Any questions for Randy? I think anytime we're going to replace those, we take the opportunity to do it. If there are no other questions for Randy, I'll need a motion to approve the contract for the water distribution main replacements 2020 project to King Construction at their bid price of $797,071.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. If there's no other discussion, we'll go ahead and vote, please.
Base. Yes. Haley.
Yes.
Seaman.
Yes.
Cots.
Yes.
Dirks.
Yes.
Fleshner.
Yes.
Resolution is approved.
Thank you. The last item on resolutions is the 224 North Main Street asbestos removal. And Mike, please.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. On January 30th of this year, bids for asbestos removal at property at 224 North Main Street, or the old City Hotel property, were received, opened, and tabulated. The city received a total of 5 bids. The bids ranged from a low of $57,777 to a high of $205,300. A full bid tab was included in the council packet. The lowest responsible bid was from ECCO Midwest of $57,777. The city did have an opportunity to receive a grant for asbestos removal. This was from the Iowa DNR through their Brownfield program. We talked about that in the past. As part of that, since that is coming from a federal funding source through the EPA Brownfield program, we were required to get approval that the building was not historically significant by the State Historic Preservation Office. Unfortunately, through some of the hoops that they were requiring us to go through, we've done an extensive study on the building, including approximately 36-page report on the property. And once that was submitted by the Iowa DNR, the State Historic Preservation Office recommended that it go through a federal review by the EPA. And due to the bids expiring here on Wednesday, and just the cost that would be associated with that and grant money we received, we're recommending at this point that we proceed without the SHPO designation and without that grant. It is unfortunate, but with the timing and what would be expected at this point for us to go through, it really is a cost benefit of what you can get in grant funding and what the cost would be to proceed. Additionally, with the bids that we have, there's really uncertainty on what this would cost to rebid, and certainly we could face a higher cost just with the bid range we had. So we're recommending we proceed forward with a resolution awarding a contract at ECCO Midwest for the removal of asbestos at property located at 224 North Main Street in the amount of $57,777. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions the council has.
When are they gonna start that process?
Say that again.
When are they starting that?
We have to file some paperwork with the DNR once this is approved. There's, I believe, a 14-day period, and then it'll be when they can get it scheduled after that. I would say normally they would have begun right away, but with the whole COVID-19 situation, a lot of schools have pushed up some of their asbestos removal projects at this point, and so now it's just getting kind of in that cycle. My hope is once the asbestos is out sometime in the summer, we would then proceed to demolition of the whole property. My goal would be to have it demolished before the end of the fall.
I appreciate you taking that time to try and get that grant, but when you look at $205,000, if that was to be the only next bid that we got, what's the 25? So,
And we had we had two bids in the high 60s, but again, it is a benefit, it's a balancing act
Right.
of
what if neither?
what will the next bid look like? And
Right.
additionally, there'll be expense if we continue on. We've already expended about $1,100 to get us to the point where they said, well, maybe we should have a federal review. So it's just time and money on the city's part to continue down that path also.
Yeah.
But there's no guarantee we'd get the grant anyway.
And there's no guarantee once you get to the end of the day, you're gonna get the grant. If the State Historic Preservation Office says no, it is historically significant. They can't stop the city from demolishing it, they just prevent us from getting federal resources to demolish it.
Mike, does that $1,100 estimate take into account the time expended by city staff?
No, that was actual cost for the city.
I kind of figured, so we had time into this also.
Yes.
Any other questions for Mike? If not, I need a motion to award the contract to ECCO Midwest for the removal of asbestos at property located at 224 North Main Street in the amount of $57,777.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. There's no other discussion. We'll go ahead and vote, please.
Dirks,
Yes.
Seaman,
Yes.
Haley,
Yes.
Fleshner,
Yes.
Cots,
Yes.
Base.
Yes.
Resolution is approved.
Thank you. Is Chief Schreck online? The next item we have is under reports, and that's the Scott Air Pack purchase. And Chief, if you want to go ahead, Greg?
Okay, sure. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. With the arrival of a new fire truck expected in mid-May, I've determined the need to add two additional Scott X3 Pro 2018 breathing air packs as part of the truck's unattached equipment. As the cost of this project will exceed $10,000, I followed city policy 501. That's the purchasing policy. I did solicit price quotes from 3 suppliers, and the suppliers I contacted were Ed M. Feld of Carroll, Clary Safety Equipment of Rochester, Minnesota, and MES of Fremont, Nebraska. I did receive notice from Clary's Safety Equipment that Carroll is outside of their authorized Scott sales area, and they were not able to provide a quote. And I contacted MES, who I think is the only other Scott dealer in the nearby area, and I did not receive any response from them after 3 attempts. Now, I don't know, they may be limited to in that sales area agreement, I'm not sure. But Feld of Carroll did submit a quote of $5,220 per pack for a total of $10,440. And the funding source for these 2 packs would be from debt service proceeds for the fire truck replacement project, and that project will still remain within budget. And just a little background of that, our air packs that we currently use they're about 15 years old, and I currently have about 6 of them that are needing repair, and they're pretty expensive repair, anywhere from $500 to $1,000. So with that information, I talked to the volunteer fire department also, and we're looking for projects, and we are going to purchase 4 new packs in addition to the 2 the city will purchase. Hopefully, will give us 6 new packs, which we need, because those things are just breaking down here pretty quick. And I also applied for a FEMA grant for 10. Hopefully, we'll hear something on that and be successful with that. But for the time being, we're really kind of getting crunched by our old ones wearing out. We need these additional packs. So with that, I'd ask Mayor and Council consideration of approval of purchase of 2 Scott X3 Pro 2018 breathing air packs from Feld Fire Equipment at their bid price of $10,440. And I'd certainly be glad to answer any questions you might have.
Hey, Greg, the six that need repair, are they beyond repair or are they repairable? Oh,
They're
go ahead.
repairable, but they're pretty expensive to repair. The minimum repair cost on one estimate I had was $500 up to $1,000. So, I mean, they're just getting old, and I guess it's like a lot of things. They have limited amounts of repair parts for them. So,
Okay.
I would just like to proceed with this. And like I say, we do have funds available because our truck was under budget that we can, purchase them and still remain within budget for that truck replacement.
Very good.
I would attest that if you look at these units, they're well cared for, but they're 15 years old and they're just well worn.
Yeah.
So it's time to replace.
Well, I mean, I guess I was even considering if we can repair those and use them as a spare backup on top of purchasing the two new ones. So if one does have to come out, we've got something extra. So.
Yeah, no, like I said, with the fire department, we're going to purchase 4 there, Mayor, and then hopefully we'll hear something from the grant that we'll receive a grant for 10. This should keep us in pretty good shape without, I don't know, I guess it'd be kind of putting good money after bad, in my opinion, because, they're in a pretty rough environment, and I just don't feel comfortable spending that much to repair them.
So what can you do with the old ones? Can you sell those, or they just become?
No, they told me they're probably just scrap. There's no value at all, especially in the condition they're in.
I guess if they're going to tell you to scrap them, then why worry about fixing them?
Right. I mean, if you wanted to spend the money, you could, but I just don't think it'd be real prudent to do that with the age of them. And, you fix one thing and half dozen things could go wrong with them. So.
Yeah, I was just looking at it from the perspective of if you had 2 that were really good and you ended up, get the 6 new ones and you got 2 as spares, but if it's beyond that, then it's no sense. So.
Yeah. And we have other ones that are still functional, but it seems like about every other time we test them, we find one that's bad or, has a leak in the air system, or the personal alarm does not work, or something like that. So,
we don't want anything like that out there.
Right.
Are there any other questions for Fire Chief Greg? If not, I'll need a motion to approve the purchase of 2 Scott X3 Pro 2018 breathing air packs from Feld Fire for the total price of $10,440.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. There's no other discussion. We'll go ahead and vote, please.
Haley,
Yes.
Dirks,
Yes.
Base,
Yes.
Cox,
Yes.
Fleshner,
Yes.
Seaman. Motion is approved.
Thank you. The next item under reports is the Carroll Public Library Certificate of Substantial Completion. And Mike, please, when you're ready.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council. The contractor Beatty Construction has completed substantial completion at the Carroll Public Library project. That work was completed by them on March 9th of this year. Pursuant to Iowa Code Section 573.28, Beatty Construction has requested early release of retainage funds at this point. There is labor and materials yet to be provided on the project, and payment for labor and materials yet to be provided will be withheld from the release pursuant to the code. The total amount of retainage to be withheld for the early release is $44,894.39, along with $2,880 for labor and materials yet to be completed. A site punch list for the items to be completed or corrected has been prepared at this point, and a certificate included with the punch list says that will be completed by September 5th of 2020. So at this point, Mayor and Council, we're asking for your consideration and acceptance of the Certificate of Substantial Completion and approval of payment to Beatty Construction in the amount of $147,058.05 for the Carroll Public Library project. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions the council may have at this point.
Mike, just explain what this is that we're not giving them. I'm not clear on what that is.
On
The $44,000.
Well, at some point we'll release that, but there's some items in the punch list that they need to address and additional work that they need to complete. So until that's completed, we'll hold that retainage just so that we make sure that that work is completed. So some examples would be work to be completed. They haven't completed the landscaping and outside kind of exterior work. If you think the weather just improved to the point that work can be completed. Interior wise, we have a couple items that need to be addressed. We have some lighting control issues that we're working through with one of the subcontractors. There's some additionally some HVAC issues that we're working through. So, we hold back that retainage to make sure that the work is completed and satisfactory, while at the same time releasing other retainage. For example, the ceiling tile is all incorrectly, the painting's done, the drywall work is done. So that you don't hold up those subcontractors that they've completed.
The elevator's in and working.
The elevator's in. I've rode up a few times on it, so I know it works. Haven't been trapped yet.
So they're about 98% done, 99% done.
99.5.
Yeah.
Why so long, September 5th?
It's just the period that we waited. I mean, it was similar to this project. We gave it the same 6-month period.
Sometimes I think when you do like, if you got like landscaping, that could take a couple of months to make sure that nothing dies or,
And we'll still have a warranty period of a year from the March 9th date.
Oh.
So as if landscaping would die, or if there's electrical issues or plumbing issues, they still need to come back and correct those.
Okay. So they'll come back one more time for the remainder of the funds. We'll have to release that for complete. Okay.
So Mike, if we were able to open up, are we ready to open up?
We are ready to open. In fact, there'll be some discussion later this evening, kind of what we're looking to do. Because under the governor's order, we can open the library.
Can open the library now, yeah.
Great.
Are there any other questions for Mike? If not, I need a motion to accept the certificate of substantial completion and approval of payment to Bating Construction in the amount of $147,058.05 for the Carroll Public Library project.
So, second.
There's a motion and a second. If there's no other discussion, we'll go ahead and vote, please.
Seaman?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Cots?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
Base?
Yes.
Fleshner?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. The final item is the COVID-19 discussion, and Mike and I had a discussion about this earlier, and he probably had a discussion with you guys, trying to update us on all the departments. And if you're ready, Mike, go ahead, please. Yeah, sorry.
We just want to take an opportunity to kind of update the council on what various operational changes have been occurring. I do have to commend the department heads and the staff throughout our organization. They've done a really extremely good job of kind of thinking through and working through some of these issues. Certainly, COVID-19 is a change that is new to all of us. This is not a situation that we've had to face in our past experiences in life. At least I haven't. So we just wanted to kind of talk through some of the operational changes, bring up the council where we're at. Additionally, we have not worked through all the changes that will be occurring starting Friday. We'll have some operational changes both with the rec center and the library. Starting Friday, under the governor's orders, those can open. And so we just want to kind of update. This is a very fluid situation. And I think from my perspective, we really do want to get the city open back up and get back to normal. But it's going to be a very phased process. It's not going to be something that's going to happen overnight. In fact, in some areas, I don't want to take anyone's thunder away, but like, for example, the rec center, we can open components of it, but other components like the pool, the theater, are still subject to closure under the orders that have been declared under the public health emergency. So, it will be a very phased process as we reopen all of our facilities and kind of get back to a normal. So with that, I'd like to start in this room. I guess Chief Burke go first.
Thank you. Of course, with the proclamation today, some things have changed since I initially sent an email out to Mike, but the office walk-in traffic is still closed. I anticipate that to open up May 1st. I haven't discussed with the city manager on this yet, but I fully expect that to occur. There's not a lot of contact. We do have the glass wall that's in place, so we feel pretty safe with that, but we'll determine that more later this week. When that does open, we will probably start doing vehicle inspections also. There's not a lot of one-on-one contact with that, like the fingerprinting, which you may delay on because there's a lot of one-on-one and physical contact when you do that. So that'll be something we'll look at later this week and kind of just go by recommendations by public health and make those determinations. But throughout this process, so it's been about 6 or 7 weeks now. Some of the statistics that we have is our calls for service, not including traffic stops, are down about 30% from the 6 weeks prior to the closing of the school. That's a pretty big jump for calls that the officers aren't getting. And a lot of this is due to the fact that traffic was down, businesses being closed, people being out. We weren't getting the calls that we had in the past. The same time period, which I have March 15th to April 22nd, what these statistics are from. Last year, we're down 47% from those calls for service. So quite a big change. And a lot of that is due to people in our community just really following the proclamation of the governor, staying home. And really, we didn't have many problems. We had a couple of domestic issues. We had some vehicle accidents, but nothing that was too major and that we couldn't handle. And a lot of the calls that we were getting, the officers have been handling over the phone. So as much as we could, especially when this first started, we tried to stay as shelter, I guess, away from the public, not only to keep your officers safe, but that we do contact so many people we're trying to keep from spreading and that could have occurred. So we have those lower numbers. As far as traffic goes, our traffic stops are down 93% from the 6 weeks prior to closure. That's a huge decrease. And there's kind of two things that play into this. First, traffic was down, I think overall 30 to 50% from DOT's numbers. And our court systems have closed for any criminal cases until August. So if we were to write a traffic citation, that wasn't going to happen until August, and our county attorney's office at this time has suggested that we do the best we can to alleviate the pressure that's going to occur to the court system when they do open back up. So we kind of slowed stuff down on it. Doesn't mean serious violations weren't out there. We had some OWIs. We still were issuing citations during traffic accidents, but we were probably more lenient on the California rules through stop signs and those types of activities. So that's like I said, it's a pretty big decrease from the 6 weeks prior. The court system, like I had said, is pushed back till August. So we have been asked to put our court dates 120 days from the time of the incident, which means your initial appearance wouldn't be for 120 days from when you were stopped. That's a big change for us. We've had to make some adjustments to our retention for our video. Our reporting is different, and officers were asking to take very detailed notes because in that length of time, they are not going to remember who and what happened at that time. So we made those adjustments, and we have a server space to save the video, which will be fine for that. So other changes is the officers are just protecting themselves more. They're trying to stay the distance a little bit more than they normally had with people. Not a lot of hand-to-hand contact. And we had stopped foot patrol through all of our apartment complexes, and schools, of course, were closed, and trying to stay out of the business as much as possible. We still are getting theft calls for shoplifting, which is probably one of our highest crimes, I think, all the time. And we're still getting that now. And we have, since the jail was closed, we're not able to take people to jail. We have cited and released a few people, but we also can hold charging someone for up to 1 year for simple misdemeanors. So we are doing that on some of our calls too. So we're getting information, the detective or the officers are investigating it, making contact with the suspects, and informing them that would be in contact at a later date to charge them for the crimes. Just because the court systems are closed, the jails aren't taking people. If we do make a charge on someone, it starts the process, and there's time frames that the court has to have in place. And so we're just trying to help alleviate some of that stress that's going to occur probably when this does open back up. So our plan, though, was we'll work with public health. We'll keep working or listening to the governor's recommendations and kind of go forward from there. The Department of Public Safety has also been putting a lot of information out for us that we're able to use and determine how we kind of proceed from here.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it.
We'll go to Laura next.
Laura, okay.
So as you know, City Hall is closed to the public, but with the change that the governor made today, we'll look at possibly opening that up sooner than later. But we do continue to service the public via telephone and email and our social media Facebook page. You can make your utility payments via the lockbox that is just on the west side of the building off of 7th Street. we're always willing to accept people to sign up for auto pay or the ACH option, which is free of charge. Credit cards are being accepted over the phone or online on our website. As of right now, no credit card convenience fees are being charged while the building is closed. We'll take a look at that once we reopen the building. Taxi tickets can also be purchased by placing the payment along with a self-addressed stamped envelope in our drop box or mailing it to City Hall, and then we'll process that and mail the payments back to the individual who wants those taxi tickets. And no penalties are being placed on utility bills through June at this time. Otherwise, staff is coming to work every day and working their normal hours and duties trying to get done.
Thank you, Laura. Mike?
Do we want to move to Randy next?
Okay, in the Public Works Department, of course, everyone is being very conscientious about observing the CDC basic precautions. The street division is continuing to do related street maintenance work, observing those precautions. The street maintenance building is currently closed to the public, and persons are permitted only to maintain the essential operations. The water division has been split into 2 operational teams. Each team is at the water plant for 14 days on and then 14 days off in a rotating basis. Service calls requiring entry into any buildings are eliminated to the extent that they're not essential to protect the operations of the water system. And the water treatment plant is currently also closed to the public, permitting only persons essential to maintaining water operations to enter. Wastewater division is the same operational split as the water department, 2 teams, each one 14 days on, 14 days off. The wastewater treatment plant is closed to the public, and only persons essential to the operation of the wastewater division are permitted to enter. Our construction contracts are continuing, as evidenced by the work beginning on the tower, and then, of course, the 2 projects you awarded tonight. That's continuing observing, again, those CDC precautions. Most of the coordination is done via phone, email, or web meetings on those projects. That's about it for the Public Works.
Thank you, Randy. Appreciate your time.
We go to, I think Fire Chief Shrek is available. Should we move to him?
Oh, yeah.
Whoops.
Oh.
You'll have to unmute your mic there, Greg.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got it. Okay, at the fire department, we're still remain on the even and odd number of firefighters reporting. That's working pretty well. I would say maybe it's added a little response time on the second vehicle out. I know the guys kind of complained that 15 seconds seems like about 3 minutes when you're waiting for somebody to show up, but it's working well. We have hand sanitizer there, so the attendance roster, when they sign that, they clean their hands before and after they finish with that. So we're getting along good. Unfortunately, there hasn't been any major calls where we had to commingle everybody, so that's working out pretty well. The building department, in addition to what you see on our website, we're still doing commercial inspections on site. And Perry and I both carry hand sanitizer in our vehicles. We sanitize our hands before and after the inspections. And generally, we maintain that social distance too from anybody working on site. So that's been working out well, and we're able to do a good job there. The only area we're concerned with is owner-occupied single-family dwellings on remodel jobs or rewiring jobs and those. And what we've done there is ask contractors to take pictures of their work, and certainly that's not the best way to go. But during this time, it's working out all right, and we'll continue to do that. Now, any residential additions or exterior work, electric meter service change outs, that kind of thing, we'll still do on site, underfloor plumbing and all of that, footings, foundations. We'll still go on site to do that, but Perry and I have not entered any owner-occupied residential dwellings. So, and we're comfortable with that right now. It'll be nice to, when we get through this, to get back to normal operations. But for now, we're tolerating and still moving forward and providing the service.
Thank you.
Jack next, I would say.
Yeah, I'd say go to that. Thanks, Chief. Appreciate it. Since Jack's on there.
Thank you, Mayor. As far as Parks Rec, golf course, parks guys are always wearing gloves constantly when they're out into the parks area. More sanitizing of areas that they can keep up with. One thing, Tom, the parks had asked is if we put more dumpsters out closer to the road, you'll see a lot of people that eat their lunch in their cars, and we made it available for more garbage cans close to the road so they can just leave the big trash cans open, and they're able to throw their trash in there, and then the contractor comes by and picks up the trash. So that's been helpful. You guys really appreciated that. Areas in the park that can congregate more than 10 people, we've closed off. Basketball courts, pickup games generally have more than 10. Tennis court area, those have been closed off. So the guys with the net for the basketball courts, to close those off, they just tied up the nets so the balls can't go through. Locked areas, put up barricades and wrapping on different areas throughout the parks. So usually in April, we have a full crew. We've brought back most of our permanent part-time staff. Obviously, the college kids don't come till mid-May, but we're not at full staff yet. So the guys are out mowing, doing a lot of things, and trying to get as much as they can done with the staff that they have. Less in-person meetings when they take breaks. They used to have breaks in their break room. Now they're in the garage. Make sure that they're 6 feet apart. So they're trying to follow everything they can to make sure everyone stays safe out there. And generally, when they're in the parks, they're on mowers, they're distancing themselves that way already. So parks is going well. We are opening up as much as we can and following all the regulations and recommendations. Golf course, different. Right now, the 2 bathrooms on the course are not open. If people need to use the restroom, they go into the clubhouse. One or 2 people at a time. The clubhouse is closed off to gatherings. If you want a tee time, let's say tomorrow at noon, you call in, you pay for it over the phone with credit card. You check in at the desk outside of the building on the patio. We check you in there, then you're off golfing. 1 person per cart. Family members can ride together. The ball washers are not available right now. Trash cans are limited to the parking lot in that area. So if you do have trash, we ask you to hold on to it till you leave the facility. Tee times are more spread out than normal. We usually have a 7-8 minute tee time spread. I think Brenda was doing like 10 to 12 minutes. So just make sure people get out on the course and out on the green on that first hole before the others start teeing off. I think that kind of covers the actual golf course. We have the cups raised, so you don't put the hole, or the ball actually goes into the hole. So we have those raised. Basically, you'll see the sleeve of the hole about 2 inches above the ground. You hit the sleeve, you're considered good. Keep your scores. So those are things that have helped this situation. And recommendations we got from other clubs. Scott got discussions with other superintendents in Iowa. His network and we followed some of their recommendations with that. Rec center, well, first leisure services, obviously soccer was postponed and canceled. That was that's our biggest program in the spring. Very sad for that to happen. Baseball, softball is still planning. We'll see how that plans out. We got a couple ideas that we're looking at to hopefully have baseball, softball yet this year. Rec center, Joel has been helping with maintenance in the rec center, painting, doing things in the pool area. Went through, cleaned every machine, cleaned the floors. I mean, it looks very good. If any of you want to see the rec center, please let me know. I'll take you through what everyone's done. Pam's done a lot of refunds and different things as far as memberships and those things. And then we'll get into, like Mike said, the opening of the rec center on Friday. I'll get into that in a minute. But Andy's been able to do things down there that we hadn't been able to get to. So things have gone very well down there. We're getting a lot done. Joel has been one thing. Getting back to Joel, he's been helping the cemetery in the afternoons, mowing, trimming, doing some other things. So we appreciate Joel and his being able to move around a little bit and help other areas.
Okay, thanks, Jack.
Jay, can you talk a little bit about what you're looking to do at the rec center this week?
This week with the opening?
Yes.
Okay. Like Mike had mentioned, a gradual opening. The pool area, the sauna whirlpool, will not be open. Going to have limitations on how many can be in areas of the gym and in the weight room. One thing we're looking at, maybe a very slight change to the schedule, more at the closing on weekdays. So there's things we're just looking at there. Limited numbers in the gym, weight room, fitness room. Fitness classes, probably be limited to 9 participants because you have the instructor as the 10th person. In the gym area, if we do open up with the gym area, people need to bring their own equipment, basketballs, volleyballs to do those things. No pickup games, because right there that would be a minimum of 10 people. They're not within the 6 feet of the social distancing, so there won't be pickup games. But people that just want to shoot baskets and stay spread out, we'll finalize here next day or so how many can be in the gym area. More cleaning, more sanitizing than we've done in the past. It'll be continuous through the day, every hour. We're going to be doing sanitizing and cleaning. And the one thing we really want to do is just have one entrance into the facility, the west side, that does meet all the ADA requirements that we did last 2018, 2019 with that west side change. So everyone can get into that facility on the west side. I know people really like the east side because it's flat and shorter area, but in this situation, it's going to be our recommendation and our feelings just really to open up the west side. But we plan on opening Friday morning at 5:30. I'm planning on being there. Hopefully we're having Bob work on some shields, like when you go to some of the grocery stores, you see that plastic shield. I think that's going to be really important to have at the control desk, especially, and then probably at Pam's desk. Kyra Meals right now, they've done pickups. They'll continue to do that, but no cards in the afternoons. Those activities are not going to happen when we open up on Friday.
And I would just note a lot of the things that Jack talked about that isn't permitted to occur is really right out of the governor's order. I mean, there's a lot of detail and a lot of restrictions that are on place. So, for example, we can't run a senior service programming right now. So the congregate meal card play isn't permitted under the new declaration. So a lot of these changes you see at the rec center are really in contrary to what Governor Reynolds has done.
Yeah, the new one came out was pretty detailed.
It is.
So,
And again, you always need to look at public health and what they're recommending. And so that's what you'll also see as we move forward.
Or Jack, whoever wants to answer, but so I understand letting people into the gym. How come they're not allowed to let anybody into the pool area?
The declaration itself prohibits pool activities at this point. Correct. So she is not allowed the debris open at this point. But even in the gym issue, like Jack alluded to, like basketball playing, there's no pickup games because you can't be within 6 feet of each other. That's in the declaration. So it's kind of hard to play basketball when you can't walk, I guess.
So we're gonna allow pickleball, but it's gonna be singles. You're not gonna be able to play doubles. You can get within 6 feet of each other.
So if the weight room's full, I don't know, how many people can go into the weight room?
So some of these things we are still working through to understand what the limitations are. The governor's order, for example, says occupancy can't be more than 50%, but then you also can't be within 6 feet of each other. But there's actually a disconnect there because you can't; those two numbers just don't work.
You can't have both.
But the weight room, for example, one of the requirements in the declaration is you can't have equipment within 6 feet each other, or you have to basically disable the use of that equipment. So we're going to have to go through and really select equipment and what can be used and what can't be used during this time. So when we have like 3 bikes next to each other, the middle bike may not be able to be used. And so we're working through some of these stuff. What I would say is we don't have all the answers this evening. We just know there's a change and we're working towards that change currently.
Where I was getting at with my question is, if you're at full occupancy at the weight room and somebody else comes in, how do they know when their chance to
So
come?
that'll be all controlled by the control room. They're gonna have to keep track of the numbers we have both in the gym and the weight room. And so again, controlling entrance, all people are gonna come through the west side. One of the things they're gonna find out when they get there is there's gonna be a very channelized ability to come into the rec center and then to get to the fitness and to get into the gym area. It's gonna be very channelized. So again, the control person can monitor who's coming in and out of those and keep track. And once we hit occupancy, then they won't be able to, we won't accept anyone else in until we have someone leave.
how are we going to keep the weights disinfected, or are we just not going to allow people to use
So
the
again,
weights?
we'll be doing a lot of sanitation.
Jim?
Like Jack alluded to, it'll be a constant process.
Yeah. Okay. They didn't give you a whole lot of direction. They just told you what you can open and what you can't do. I mean, there was
And there was
some, but
restrictions
yeah.
on, how far people can be, how far people have to remain away from each other. And so it's just gonna be we'll have a lot of communication. I'll come out, I would guess, on Wednesday. It's really gonna detail all this, so we're ready to open on Friday.
Sounds good. And then, okay, thanks, Jack.
Hey, I have
Yeah.
one more thing for Jack. Just wanted to say congratulations to you and Holly on celebrating 25 years together.
Thank you.
I think, is Rachel next?
Yes, Rachel would be next.
All right.
Oh my gosh. Sorry about that. My camera wasn't working.
Oh, we got you.
Okay, I got me. So yeah, the library has been doing a lot of alternative services during the time, especially with closure. One of the things that we've been doing is curbside pickup, which patrons have really enjoyed, which we have available on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 2 to 6. We've encouraged patrons to go on to our online catalog and put things on hold there or notify us with specific titles that they want. We've also been following guidelines from the Carroll County Public Health in regards to make sure with our curbside pickup that we're following proper procedures. In regards to the table outside, we clean it between each pickup. And we've been scheduling people every 10 minutes between pickups to maintain social distancing and also give the opportunity to spray down the table between each pickup like we have been doing. There's other further information in regards to curbside pickup for other details if you are interested on that on the city's webpage as well. Other things we've been doing in this time is we've been making sure our Wi-Fi has been extended into our parking lot and is on 24 hours so people can access that anytime outside our building if they need that. We've also been trying to engage patrons through social media through different ways, especially we've been providing a daily read aloud for kids. We've also been trying to get involvement with our Carroll Critter Hunt on Facebook to try to get kids engaged with looking for like stuffed animals in windows when they're out and about in the community as well. We've also been trying to promote our online ebooks and audiobook services through the library's website and accessing any of our online resources during this time. The ebooks and audiobooks have been especially popular during this time. We've actually seen an increase in circulation with that, about a 25% increase between February and March. We've also been contacted by Carroll County Emergency Management. We've been using our 3D printer to print a headband portion for the space shield. We actually have some people coming tomorrow to assemble, or a person tomorrow coming to assemble the plastic face shield that Trophies Plus has cut out the holes for to assemble to the headband. I don't have one with me, otherwise I would totally show you what it looks like.
How many of those have you done, Rachel?
We've probably close to 100 now. And Kemper has also been printing these as well, and they've printed close to about the same amount that we have done as well. So our goal is to reach 200. That's what Carroll County Emergency Management is estimating they will need to meet demands. So yeah, we're printing them around the clock. So
You got it running.
yep, we got it running. So it's been a learning curve, but it's been good. So we've also been ensuring that any library materials that are returned, we also make sure that those are properly sanitized and quarantined for 3 days before we check them in and then reshelve them, just to make sure that those are properly cleaned as well. And then like Jack and Mike were talking about, we're, based on the governor's announcement today, we're working through different procedures in regards to how we can reopen to the public following what the governor's proclamation has detailed out in regards to social distancing, keeping employees and patrons safe, and so forth. So that is what we've been doing during this time. Do you have any questions?
And I would just say, watch for details. Again, the library is one that can also reopen, but right now we understand that it's very much an attractive nuisance to the community. It's attractive, and people want to get in. That's what makes it the nuisance. And, so we want to be very careful on how we reopen. It'll be very much a staged reopening. So watch for more details here in the coming days on that. If there's not anything else for Rachel, I just have one other item I just want to.
Thank you, Rachel.
And just more of we've had some landlord property owners in the community kind of reach out, and so I just want to publicly kind of talk through where we're going at on the rental housing code at this point. Since we are doing these electronic meetings at this point, haven't had the ability to have public, we've held off on bringing that back. We do have draft on our website. What I would say is, as soon as we can get it back to a council meeting, we plan to bring it back and continue that discussion. There may be some modification based on everything that's happening. But I think the one item is, we're going to do like all of our operations. We're going to be very prudent on how we do rental housing code, if that's our direction we ultimately head as a community. And it's going to be both to protect the citizens that we serve as a community, like you've heard from all of the department heads today, but also the staff that would have to go into these properties. I would tell you that a lot of communities have suspended rental housing code inspections. That doesn't mean that rental housing codes have been suspended. It's just kind of that inspection process. So that'll be something, obviously, as we work through the COVID-19 and reopening and everything, it'll be a discussion I will bring back at a future council meeting.
So we could get that ordinance passed, just we're not going to be enforcing it until such time.
And I think regardless of COVID-19 or not, we've taken the steps that we want to get the ordinance in place before we do a hire. So that alone is once you get the code in place, there's going to be a 3-month process of going through a hiring process. Once you have that hire completed, the next step we want to do before we even do the first inspection is to have some outreach to property owners to let them know, again, detail what was the final code. Because we obviously, during this time, it went through a lot of amendments and edits of the code. I suspect there'll be a few more yet before we make a final adoption. And so as we work to finalize that, we'll have a period of time of, we'll hire someone, we'll do an education, and then we'll have inspection. So it'll be a process yet.
So, yeah, okay. I mean, it could probably be a year before you could probably end up doing inspections, but you can get the ordinance passed and get it on the books, which I think is what.
I would say once you have the ordinance passed and on the books, barring any situation with COVID-19 where we don't want to go into a property, because again, you heard that with the building inspection, you heard that with the water department. We're avoiding going into properties at this point because again, we don't want to be a situation where we're exposing people. Maybe we have COVID-19, and vice versa. We don't want to pick up COVID-19, expose a staff person, and then become a carrier of it. So it will be a very deliberate process on how we work through this in kind of our new situational period that we're in.
Very good.
I would just close to say, again, I think you heard it tonight, we have a really good staff that's working really hard to provide continued services to the citizens of Carroll. What I'd really say during this time is, and I think people really understand that in the community, continue to bear with us as we kind of get back to normal. It's going to take some time. I think it shut down quicker than stuff is going to open up. But we're moving through that as quickly as we can. The question like the pool, again, we want to get that open. We're working through, for example, the outdoor aquatic center to get it prepared, get it ready to open this summer. Our intention is to open it up. It may look different as we open it up. And, I just ask the public as we do these things just to bear with us. And again, we're trying to be public safety minded, but get back to normal. So I appreciate what our staff has done because they've really stepped up during this time. I appreciate it.
I think the objective is to do what's necessary to get it done. It may not be the best, it may not be perfect, but we have to get done what is necessary to make it safe. So, anything else, Mike? If not, I trust everyone's read the committee reports and monthly activity reports. And again, I'm just my quick comment about the staff. I think that everything's been going very smoothly. Everything's very fluid. A lot of these decisions are having, they're taking the time, they're doing it correctly, trying to do everything that they can. And I have not heard too many complaints. I hear a few here and there, but nothing outrageous. I mean, I think the community is doing a very good job, particularly the citizens and everyone else. So appreciate everybody's candor in the matter. Any comments from the city council? Jerry, nothing?
I have nothing today.
You look like you had something ready to pop out there.
Oh, no.
Sorry. Okay. Any more comments from the city manager?
The only comment, kind of an exciting piece of news, is today the Iowa Department of Economic Development announced that the city was awarded a grant just shy of $50,000 to provide funding both to new opportunities and community concern, to provide gift cards and meat processing dollars to do meat processing, donated meat to the food pantry operations. The gift card kind of item is actually kind of exciting. So it helps two entities that both going to help the restaurants in Carroll get some gift card dollars and dollar infused now during this time, but also families' ability, some food sources that they may not otherwise have access to. So we'll be working through that with those two entities and getting that. So we're pretty excited that the city of Carroll was awarded, and you're seeing a lot of communities getting awarded this exact thing around the state. So I think it's a really good program that we were able to tap into.
What was the ask amount for that? Did we get what we asked for?
We asked for a number of projects, and this was the one project that was funded.
Okay.
Overall, we made a request for about $109,000.
That's what I was saying is about 100. Okay.
And they funded about half of
Half.
that.
Okay.
So, we're happy with any dollars that we get funded and directed to the community.
But those gift certificates and that meat processing, that was probably, I think, what you were looking forward for the most out of that thing. So,
I think there was some technology needs. We had discussions with New Hope, New Opportunities, and Family Resource Center. So we did put in some requests to get some technology needs, really to address some client changes that they have faced through COVID-19. That was actually our first number one ask. And I think ultimately they were looking for projects that were really direct impact to the end user, even though those technology needs would have helped their clients. For whatever reason, they made the decision to fund that portion, not the first portion. But again, I think anytime we can help our community like this, I think it's a good thing.
very good. If there's nothing else, I'll need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
There's a motion and a second. We'll go ahead and vote, please.
Base?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
Kotz?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Fleshner?
Yes.
We are adjourned.
Thank you.